Chapter 1. Through the Violet Gate. The world shimmers and tears open in front of you with a low, humming crackle of violet light. You step through the swirling purple portal, pipe wrench gripped tightly in your calloused right hand, tool belt heavy with hammers, chisels, nails, and rolls of wire. The air on the other side is a cold and smells of pine resin and distant smoke. You emerge into a dense evergreen forest at twilight. Ancient trees tower overhead, their trunks wider than a house. Between them, half buried in moss and fallen needles, lie the ruins of what was once a massive stone bridge, now collapsed, its arches broken like snapped bones. A narrow dirt road runs beneath the ruins, winding deeper into the woods toward faint torchlight in the distance. Your portal snaps shut behind you with a sharp pop, leaving only a faint scent of ozone. This is the third world you've crossed into since James was taken. Each time the mercenaries have been one step ahead, snatching your boy through gates of their own and vanishing. But the trail is still warm. You found a scrap of James's blue jacket caught on brambles in the last world. And one of the mercenaries dropped a brass insignia shaped like a broken crown. You're close, you can feel it. Kneeling, you examine the ground where the road passes under the ruined bridge. Fresh wagon tracks, deep ruts, wide axle cut through the mud. Iron-rimmed wheels, heavily loaded, hoof prints too, 6 horses, riding hard. The tracks are no more than a few hours old, heading east toward those distant torches. As you straighten up, you hear voices, rough, low, arguing. They're coming from the far side of the collapsed bridge, maybe 50 paces away, hidden by the undergrowth. You move quietly, keeping low, and using the deepening shadows to your advantage. The voices on the far side of the bridge continue their muffled argument. Something about
payment
and
the boy slowing us down.
But the thick stone and undergrowth muffle the details. You file the words away. They confirm you're on the right trail. Circling wide through the ferns, you slip beneath the broken span of the ancient bridge. The underside is a cavernous space of massive stone blocks, some cracked and shifted by whatever catastrophe brought the structure down centuries ago. Vines and moss hang like curtains, and the ground is surprisingly dry, packed earth sheltered from the light rain that's starting to fall. With the practiced efficiency of a master builder who's erected shelters in far worse places, you set to work. You select 2 fallen stone blocks that form a natural corner against one of the bridge's surviving piers. From your tool belt, you pull a folded tarp of heavy canvas, always carried for emergencies, a coil of sturdy rope, and a few straight saplings you quickly cut with a small handsaw. In minutes, you've lashed together a simple A-frame lean-to. The tarp stretched tight over the saplings, anchored with stakes you hammer in using the flat of your pipe wrench. The back and one side are protected by the stone. The open front faces a small dip in the ground where you can build a fire without the glow being visible from the road above. You gather deadfall from under the bridge, dry branches that have been sheltered for years, and arrange them in a compact fire ring of fist-sized stones. A handful of tinder, a spark from your flint striker, and soon a small hot fire is crackling low, throwing just enough warmth to take the chill off the night air. You position it so the smoke rises and disperses against the underside of the bridge rather than straight up. Settled against your pack, pipe wrench across your lap, you eat a quick meal of hardtack and dried meat while keeping an ear toward the road. The voices eventually fade, You hear the creak of wagon wheels and the jingle of harness as the group moves on eastward, torches bobbing away into the darkness. Hours pass. The rain patters softly on your tarp. Owls call in the forest. Your fire burns down to glowing coals. Near midnight, you hear something else. A faint, deliberate scrape of boot on stone directly above you on the bridge ruins. Then a small pebble clatters down through the cracks and lands near your fire. Someone is up there, moving carefully, as if searching for something or someone. The fire is low enough now that you're mostly in shadow, unseen from above, unless they peer directly over the edge. You bank the fire with a quick scoop of dirt, reducing it to faint embers that throw almost no light. Pipe wrench in hand, its familiar weight reassuring, you move to the nearest broken arch, a slanted spur of stone that once supported the bridge's roadway. Centuries of erosion and vine growth have left it rough and textured, perfect for climbing. With the sure grip of a man who's scaled scaffolding and rooftops all his life, you ascend silently. Your boots find purchase on cracks and protruding blocks. Your free hand tests each hold before committing your weight. In less than a minute, you're near the top, belly flat against the cold stone, peering over the crumbled edge. Moonlight filters through thinning clouds, silvering the scene above. A lone figure stands on the ruined roadway about 15 feet from your position. It's a child, small, slight, wrapped in a travel cloak too large for him. Hood up, but strands of familiar brown hair escape around the edges. He's crouched, running his hands over the broken stones as if searching for something specific. James. Your heart hammers against your ribs. It's him, no doubt. The way he tilts his head when concentrating, the careful, deliberate movements, it's your boy. No guards in sight, no mercenaries. He's alone, but something's wrong. His cloak is torn and muddied. There's a faint metallic glint around his left ankle, a thin chain tethered to an iron ring bolted into the stone. The chain is long enough for him to move along this section of the ruins, but not to descend or run. He hasn't noticed you yet. He's focused on prying at a loose flagstone with a small rock. 20 feet further down the road, almost lost in shadow, you spot the faint glow of dying embers, the mercenaries' campfire, screened by a stand of trees. They're bedded down for the night, confident their prisoner can't escape. James mutters under his breath, voice carrying faintly on the still air.
Almost. Come on.
He's trying to free himself. You're hidden in shadow. Pipe wrench ready. The chain's anchor bolt looks old, set deep into mortar that's seen better days. A few solid, quiet strikes could shear it. You can tell at a glance. Or you could drop down beside him, cut or break the chain ticking, or signal him silently first so he doesn't cry out in surprise. The night is quiet, except for the soft patter of rain and the distant crackle of the mercenaries' fire. You ease forward another foot along the shadowed stone, close enough now that the faint moonlight catches out the worry lines on James's young face. He's still prying futilely at that flagstone, breathing hard with effort and frustration, keeping your voice to the barest thread of air, a whisper that travels only a few feet. You speak the words you've carried across 3 worlds.
James, it's Dad.
His head snaps up. The small rock slips from his fingers and clatters softly. For a heartbeat, he freezes eyes wide, scanning the darkness. Then he spots you, half hidden against the broken arch. Relief floods his face, chased immediately by fear that he'll make too much noise. He presses a finger to his lips, the same gesture you taught him years ago when you worked late in the shop and didn't want to wake him. You give a tiny nod and begin moving. Hand over hand, silent as a shadow, you traverse the underside of the arch until you're directly above the iron ring bolted into the stone. From there, it's an easy drop, knees bent, landing cat-soft on the balls of your feet right beside him. James throws his arms around your neck the instant you touch down, burying his face against your shoulder to muffle the half-sob that escapes him. You hold him tight for one precious second, feeling how much thinner he's gotten, then gently ease him back.
Shh, buddy, we're getting out of here. Hold still.
From your keychain, you unclip the tiny laser cutter, a palm-sized tool you built yourself back home. Focused beam, rechargeable cell, good for 30 minutes of continuous cut, quiet as a whisper. You thumb it on. A needle-thin red line of light appears, humming almost inaudibly. The chain is thin, tempered steel, but nothing your cutter can't handle. You brace the link closest to James's ankle with your pipe wrench to keep it steady and motionless, then guide the beam in a slow, perfect circle. 15 silent seconds. The metal glows cherry red, then parts with a soft hiss. The severed ends drop to the stone without a clink. James is free. He rubs his ankle, eyes shining in the faint moonlight, but he's your son, smart and quick. He doesn't waste time on questions yet. Instead, he points urgently at the loose flagstone he was working on earlier.
Dad, I hid something under there. For you.
You pry the stone up with the flat of your wrench. Beneath it, wrapped in a scrap of oily cloth, is a small brass device, hexagonal, about the size of your fist, etched with the same broken crown insignia you took from the mercenary in the last world. A faint purple glow pulses deep inside its crystal core. A portable portal key, the mercenary's way home, and maybe yours. In the distance, a log shifts in the mercenary's dying campfire, sending up a spray of sparks. One of the sleeping figures stirs and mutters. You and James are together again, chain broken, portal key in hand. You crouch low with James pressed close against your side, the brass portal key already warm in your palm. Its crystal core pulses faster as you twist the etched rings into the sequence you've memorized from watching The Mercenaries, the one that should take you both home. The air in front of you begins to tear open, violet light blooming like a silent explosion. Then pain, white-hot shattering, erupts in your left thigh. A sharp crack echoes across the ruins a split second later. Gunfire. The portal key slips from your suddenly numb fingers, clattering onto the stone as your leg buckles. You drop hard, pipe wrench clanging away from your reach. Blood soaks through your trousers instantly, hot and spreading. Before you can even shout James's name, something heavy and wooden slams into the side of your head. Stars burst across your vision. The world tilts, sound muffling to a dull roar. You fight to stay conscious, clawing at the stone, but darkness swallows you for a few agonizing seconds. When your vision clears, blurry, pounding, tasting copper, you see them. 3 mercenaries, cloaked in dark leather, broken crown insignia glinting on their chests. One still has his smoking crossbow pistol lowered. Another holds a blood-smeared club. The third grips James by the upper arm. Your son struggling, kicking, but too small to break free. James's eyes meet yours across the moonlit ruins. Terror, fury, apology, all flash across his face in an instant.
Dad!
The mercenary clamps a gloved hand over James's mouth. With his other hand, he activates a second portal key. This one larger. Its light a sickly green instead of your familiar purple. A new rift yawns open beside them, swirling with emerald fire. The mercenary with the pistol levels it at your head.
Persistent bastard.
He growls.
Should have aimed higher the first time.
They drag James backward through the green portal. Your son's muffled scream cuts off as the rift snaps shut behind them with a thunderclap of displaced air, leaving only the smell of burnt ozone and the faint echo of James's voice. You're alone on the cold stone, leg bleeding heavily, head throbbing, pipe wrench a few feet away, your portal key lying just out of immediate reach. The original violet portal you started flickers weakly, unstable without the key in hand, on the verge of collapsing. Rain begins to fall harder, mixing with the blood pooling beneath you. You're wounded, weaponless in immediate grasp, and James is gone again, taken through a different gate by men who now know you're hunting them. But you're Marcus Westwood, master builder, quick thinker, father. The night is not over. Pain throbs in your thigh and head in sickening waves, but you force it down. James is gone again, taken through that green rift, and every second you lie here bleeding is a second they get farther away. You have to survive this. You have to get back on their trail. Gritting your teeth, you roll onto your belly, the wound in your leg screaming as gravel bites into it. Rain slicks the stone, mixing with blood, but you drag yourself forward, inch by determined inch, toward the faint violet glow of the unstable portal you started. First things first, the pipe wrench. It lies just off to your right, glinting dully in the moonlight. You stretch, fingers scraping stone, and close your hand around its familiar, reassuring weight. The heavy iron head feels like an extension of your arm again. Whatever comes next, you're not unarmed. A few more pulls, and your other hand closes round the dropped brass portal key. It's still warm, crystal pulsing erratically. The rift you opened is flickering, shrinking, but not gone yet. You twist the rings with blood-slick fingers, locking in the sequence for home, your workshop, the reinforced lab beneath the old Westwood foundry. The violet tear widens again, stabilizing into a steady oval of swirling light just large enough for a man to crawl through. You don't hesitate. Hauling with your arms and one good leg, you drag yourself across the threshold. The portal's energy prickles over your skin like static. Behind you, the ruins vanish with a soft whoosh as the rift seals shut, cutting off the rain and the distant crackle of the mercenaries' fire. You collapse onto the familiar concrete floor of your lab. The overhead lights, motion activated, flicker on, bathing the space in harsh white fluorescence. Workbenches line the walls, cluttered with half-finished tools, blueprints, and prototype gadgets. The air smells of machine oil, solder, and coffee. Home. Your med kit is on the wall pegboard, 10 feet away. Hydraulic lift table to your left. You could haul yourself onto it and use it as an operating surface. The 3D printer in the corner is still humming from the last job you left running. And on the far bench, sits the half-assembled portal tracker you've been building from fragments of mercenary tech. The one that might let you follow that green signature. Blood pools steadily beneath your leg. Head wound is bleeding too, but the thigh is worse. Bullet's still in there, you think? You're safe for the moment. No immediate pursuit can follow you here. Your lab's portal signature is keyed only to your devices. You grit your teeth and start crawling again, pipe wrench clamped in one hand, portal key shoved securely into your belt pouch. Blood trails behind you across the concrete, but you don't look back. The rolling hydraulic work table, your heavy-duty one with the steel top and lockable casters, sits only 8 feet away, right where you left it after the last late-night session. Every pull forward sends fire through your thigh, vision tunneling at the edges. But you're Marcus Westwood. You've worked through worse pain on job sites with broken fingers and burns. James is counting on you. You reach the table, hook an arm over its edge, and haul. The sturdy frame doesn't even budge under your weight. Built it yourself, after all, rated for half a ton. Using the lower cross brace as a step, you drag yourself up, good leg taking most of the load. Your wounded thigh screams as it straightens, but you lock your knee and lean hard against the tabletop, chest heaving. Now upright, barely. You can move. Kdi. You shove the table ahead of you like a makeshift walker, wheels rolling smooth and silent on the shop floor. 3 pushes, and you're at the wall-mounted first aid station. The big one, not the little bathroom kit. You built this cabinet yourself, too. Red steel box, magnetic latches, everything organized exactly how you need it in an emergency. You pop it open with a bloody knuckle. Inside, trauma shears. Tourniquet, commercial ratcheting one. Quick clot combat gauze. Chest seals, just in case. Israeli bandage. Sam splint. Irrigation syringe with saline. Lidocaine vials and syringes. Suturing kit. Broad spectrum antibiotics. Morphine auto-injector. You keep 2. Legal prescription from an old job injury. Blood-stopping hemostatic powder. Your head wound is still oozing, but the thigh is the priority. Arterial bleed possible, bullet lodged inside. You're swaying on your feet, table holding you up. Time is slipping. You lean hard against the rolling table, sweat stinging your eyes, and force yourself to work methodically, the way you've always tackled the toughest jobs. 1 step at a time, no panic, no waste motion. First, the bleeding. You grab the ratcheting tourniquet, loop it high on your left thigh, just below the groin, and crank it down until the arterial pulse vanishes and the gush of blood slows to an ooze. Pain flares white hot, but the flow is controlled. You have time now. Next, morphine. You snatch one of the auto-injectors, jam it into the meat of your good thigh, and trigger it. Cool relief spreads within seconds, dulling the edges enough that your hands stop shaking. You roll the table closer to the autoclave station, hit the foot pedal to lower it to waist height, and hoist yourself onto the steel surface. Pants leg gets cut away with trauma shears, no saving the fabric now. The entry wound is a neat, dark hole, front mid-thigh. No exit wound. Bullet still in there. You irrigate liberally with salicylate, flushing out gravel and cloth fibers. Bright red blood wells up, but slower now, thanks to the tourniquet. Lidocaine next. You draw up a full syringe and ring the wound site with local anesthetic. It numbs the skin and muscle enough to work without passing out. Tools, sterilized forceps, hemostats, retractors, all laid out on a clean tray you keep for exactly this kind of emergency. You probe carefully. The bullet track runs deep, angling slightly backward. 3 inches in, your forceps touch metal. A solid tug. You feel it shift. And out comes the slug, a deformed copper-jacketed round that clatters into the tray. No major fragments left behind. You explore once more to be sure. Artery spared. Good. You pack the depth with quick clot gauze, then layer an Israeli pressure bandage over the top, wrapping it tight and secure. Head wound now. A shallow laceration along the scalp, still bleeding steadily. You clean it, staple it closed with 4 quick clicks of the skin stapler. Done. You ease the tourniquet off for 30 seconds to restore circulation. Watch for fresh spurting. None. Then loosen it to a lighter pressure. Leg goes numb tingly, but the bandage holds. Antibiotics. You swallow a handful of broad-spectrum capsules and chase them with water from the shop sink. Finally, you slide off the table, test weight on the leg. Painful, but it holds. You fashion a quick crutch from a scrap of aluminum tubing and a padded handle, locking it to length with the set screws. You're patched up. Not pretty, not permanent. You'll need real surgery eventually, but you're mobile, clear-headed, and alive. The half-built portal tracker on the far bench is still waiting, its screen dark. The green rift's energy signature is fading fast, but if you power it up now, you might still get a vector. Pipe wrench in hand, crutch under one arm, you limp toward it. You limp to the main workbench, pipe wrench in one hand, crutch under the other arm, and slap the intercom panel mounted on the wall, the secure shortwave rig you and your old crew used on cross-dimensional jobs. You thumb the transmit key, voice steady despite the lingering ache.
Redact. This is Marcus. Come in. Priority call.
Static hisses for a few seconds, then the channel crackles to life.
Marcus, you old bastard.
Comes the familiar gravelly voice, laced with immediate concern.
You sound like you've been chewing gravel. What's the situation?
Got shot in the thigh. Bullet out, but it's ugly. Headlack too. Patch myself enough to stay upright, but I need real stitches and antibiotics that aren't from my shop cabinet. James. They took him again. Different portal color this time. Green. I've got a signature to chase, but I can't do it bleeding and half-doped on morphine.
A pause. You can almost hear Redact already grabbing his kit.
Sending you a one-way bounce portal right now. Lab coordinates locked. Step through the second you see purple. I'll be waiting on the other side with a full trauma tray and a bottle of the good stuff for after. We'll get you sewn up, pumped full of proper meds, and back in the fight.
Appreciate it, brother.
Marcus says calmly.
Save it. Just don't bleed out on my floor.
Redact says with a chuckle. 10 seconds later, the air in the center of your lab shimmers. A clean, stable disk of violet light opens. Redact's signature, crisp and precise, the way only a combat medic who's patched soldiers in a dozen worlds can make it. You gather what you need fast. The recovered brass portal key, the half-built tracker shoved into a satchel, your pipe wrench, and a fresh magazine of self-forged tools. Crutch underarm, you step through. The portal snaps shut behind you. You emerge into Redact's field surgery, a converted warehouse space lit by bright surgical lamps, stainless steel table already prepped with drapes, monitors beeping softly. Redact, tall black-haired, scarred, still wearing his old unit patch, is gloved up and ready, eyes sharp behind his glasses.
Get your ass on the table, Marcus. Let's see the damage.
He works fast and professional, cleans the wound deeper, debrides, fresh sutures inside and out, proper drain, IV antibiotics, tetanus booster, even a quick scan to confirm no fragments left behind. Head wound gets cleaned and properly closed. 45 minutes later, you're bandaged, braced with a lightweight carbon fiber leg support he fabricated on the spot, and feeling human again. As he tapes the last dressing, Redact meets your eyes.
James?
Green portal. Mercenaries with a broken crown sig. I've got a tracker that's close to locking the frequency.
Redact nods once, already pulling a reinforced medic's vest from a rack and tossing it to you.
Then we're not done. Drink this coffee, load whatever weapons you want from the wall, and let's finish that tracker together. I'm coming with you this time. Someone's got to keep your stubborn ass alive long enough to bring the boy home.
You're patched, reinforced, and no longer alone. Redact snaps the last strap on his reinforced medic's vest, slings a compact trauma pack over one shoulder, and checks the action on his sidearm with practiced ease. Then he reaches into a locked drawer on the wall rack and pulls out a gleaming revolver, a massive stainless steel .357 Magnum with a 6-inch barrel and custom rubber grips. He spins the cylinder with a flick of his wrist, grins wide, and holds it up for you to admire.
Meet the new peacemaker, he says, voice dripping with mock gravity. 6 rounds of shut the hell up and let me work. Doctors hate it when patients keep arguing after the first one.
He chuckles at his own joke, the same dark humor that's kept you both sane through 25 years of dimensional contracts, hazardous builds, and too many close calls. Then the grin fades to something harder, more resolute. He holsters the revolver, steps close and clamps a firm hand on your shoulder, steady, grounding.
Now let's go save your boy, Marcus. No more chasing shadows alone.
He pulls a synced portal key from his vest, twin to the one you recovered, but tuned to a specific frequency you both know by heart. With a twist of its rings, the air in the center of the surgery splits open in a perfect circle of violet light, edges crisp and stable. Beyond the portal, you can already see the familiar cavernous interior of Abiotic Labs HQ. High vaulted ceilings of reinforced concrete, banks of humming servers, and prototype portals along the walls. The massive central work floor littered with half-assembled machinery, exosuits, and dimensional gates in various stages of completion. The place you and Redact helped build from nothing 25 years ago, back when it was just a crazy idea in a warehouse lease. Home base, Resource Central, the one place in any dimension with the tools, data, and firepower to end this hunt tonight. Redact gives your shoulder one last squeeze.
After you, boss.
You step through together, pipe wrench in hand, leg brace holding strong, the portal snapping shut behind you with a low thum that echoes through the vast lab. Overhead, the main lights automatically brighten, consoles beep in greeting. A holographic status board flickers to life, already pulling in the green rift signature from the tracker data you uploaded remotely. You're in Abiotic Labs, fully geared, with your oldest friend at your side. James is closer than he's ever been. The vast main floor of Abiotic Labs feels almost peaceful for a moment as the portal hiss fades behind you. The holographic board keeps quietly crunching the green signature in the background, But even a chase across dimensions can wait 10 minutes for food and a breath. Redact leads the way to the compact kitchen alcove tucked between the armory and the fabrication bays. The one you two built together back when the lab was still half empty and you were running on caffeine and stubbornness. He pulls a big cast iron pot from the induction station, lifts the lid, and the rich smell of slow-cooked potato stew fills the air. Chunks of tender potato, carrots, herbs, smoked sausage, and a dark, savory broth that's been simmering on low since yesterday. He ladles steaming portions into two heavy ceramic bowls, sets them on the small table with thick slices of sourdough and a couple of spoons. You ease into a chair, his leg brace clanking lightly against the metal frame, and take the first spoonful. It's perfect, hearty, warming, exactly what your body needs after blood loss and morphine. Redact sits across from you, already halfway through his bowl, smirking.
Did you forget I was a chef too, Marcus? Spent 3 years slinging plates in that little bistro on Prime Echo before I ever picked up a trauma shears.
You snort, nearly choking on a chunk of potato, and point your spoon at him.
You've always been a jack-of-all-trades type of motherfucker, Redact. Medic, cook, dimensional engineer, and still the only guy I know who can suture a femoral artery and reduce a sauce at the same time.
He throws his head back and laughs. That deep, infectious bark that's echoed through more firefights and late-night builds than you can count. You can't help but join in, the sound bouncing off the high concrete ceilings, tension bleeding out of both of you for the first time in days. For a few minutes, it's just two old friends, bowls steaming between them, trading good-natured jabs while the stew disappears. When the bowls are empty and the laughter settles into quiet determination, Redact wipes his mouth with the back of his hand and nods toward the glowing analytics station.
All right, brother. Belly's full, wounds closed. Time to finish this.
You stand, pipe wrench hooked on your belt, feeling stronger than you have since the bullet hit. You and Redact leave the kitchen alcove with fresh purpose, boots echoing across the vast main floor of Abiotic Labs. The holographic analytics board is already chewing through the green portal signature, but for a precise lock, especially across dimensions, you need the big guns, the UAV satellite control room buried 2 levels down. You take the wide central corridor toward the secure lift, pipe wrench hooked on your belt, Redact's trauma pack slung easy on his shoulder, 3 feet glinting at his hip. Halfway there, the corridor opens into the central plaza, the soaring atrium you both insisted on building back when the lab was still raw concrete and exposed conduits. Skylights, actually reinforced viewports, high overhead, let in simulated daylight. And in the middle stands the big circular fountain you installed for morale. Water trickles over stacked stone tiers into a wide basin that's more than deep enough for 2 idiots with collapsible fishing rods and a case of beer. Redact slows, grinning as he nods toward it.
Remember fishing in that thing? Landed a 20-inch trout once, genetically engineered, of course. Thing fought like a marlin.
You bark a laugh, shaking your head.
Yeah, and I remember never drinking the water afterwards. That recycled loop shot right through me for a week. Thought I was going to vibrate into another dimension without a portal.
Redact throws his head back and roars with laughter, the sound bouncing off the high walls. You're both still chuckling when you reach the far side of the plaza and step into the lift. The doors close. Redact punches the sub-level code for UAVs at control. As the lift drops smoothly, the humor settles into the familiar, focused quiet of old partners about to go to work. The doors slide open onto the dimly lit control room. Banks of curved monitors, holographic projection table in the center, rows of drone and satellite control stations. A half dozen autonomous UAVs sit in their charging cradles along one wall, ready for launch. The big quantum entangled satellite array, your pride and joy, hums softly in the background, capable of peering into dimensional overlays no commercial system can touch. The main holo table is already pulling in the partial track from upstairs, a faint green energy thread arcing across the multiversal map, flickering, but holding. Redact cracks his knuckles.
Let's find your boy.
You nod toward the row of charging cradles along the wall where 6 sleek stealth UAVs sit, humming quietly. Matte black carbon frames, quad rotor with dimensional fold capability, each packed with high-res cameras, portal beacons, and a light armaments package.
Redact, get in the fight with the UAVs. I want 2 birds in the air the second we have a solid vector. Full sensor sweep, live feed, and arm the micro-missiles. If those mercenaries so much as twitch wrong, I want eyes on them yesterday.
Redact flashes a wolfish grin, already moving toward the primary drone control station.
Copy that. I'll have 'em dancing through that green rift like angry hornets.
He drops into the ergonomic chair, pulls on the Neuralink headset, and starts powering up UAV-03 and UAV-04. The cradles whirred open. Rotors spin up with a low, menacing hum as diagnostic holographics bloom around him. Meanwhile, you limp over to the central command workbench, the big one with the integrated fusion fabricator, molecular assembler, and direct power taps from the lab's quantum core. You've got an idea brewing, a compact, high-output power core that can overload or destabilize an enemy portal key if things go south. Something palm-sized, hot-swappable, and mean. You drop your pipe wrench on the bench with a heavy clank, roll up your sleeves, and get to work. Pull a blank iridium casing from stores. Spin up the assembler to print a dense thorium lattice fuel matrix. Route superconducting coils around a contained quantum vacuum chamber. Wire in a variable yield controller. Safe mode for portable power, overload mode for make their gate implode. Etch the broken crown insignia on the outer shell as a personal calling card. Tools dance in your hands. Plasma torch, microlathe, laser welder. The brace on your leg holds steady. Adrenaline and purpose keep the pain at bay. Redax's voice drifts over from the control station, calm and professional now as the first UAV lifts off a test pad.
UAV-03 hot and climbing. Standing by for coordinates. Give me 30 more seconds and I'll have full swarm control online.
The holo table in the center of the room pings. The quantum array has finished its deep scan. A sharp green line solidifies on the multiversal map, terminating in a stable pocket dimension labeled Sector Gamma 9, Restricted Old Crown Contract Zone. You're close, so close. The power core in your hands begins to glow a soft, angry blue as the containment field engages. You lock the final containment ring into place with a satisfying click, then route the last superconducting filament through its channel. The power core, palm-sized, iridium-sheathed, etched with that mocking broken crown symbol, hums to life in your grip. The blue glow steadies, bright and contained, ready for whatever you need. Stable power source, emergency battery, or, with a twist of the recessed dial, a very rude surprise for anyone trying to hold a portal open against you. You slide it into a padded slot on your tool belt, right next to the pipe wrench.
Pour's done.
You call over your shoulder, Voice steady.
Overload yields dialed in. Should collapse a medium gate in under 3 seconds if we need it.
Redact glances up from the drone station, neural headset glowing faintly around his temples as UAV-03 and UA hover in perfect formation on the test pad.
Good, because you're going to want to see this.
You limp over to the central holotable just as a priority chime sounds. New data blooms in the air above the projection surface. Sharp, high-confidence lock. The quantum array has finished its trace. The green portal's signature terminates in a fortified compound deep inside Sector Gamma 9. Old Crown contract zone. Blueprints and satellite overlays flicker into view. A walled fortress built into the side of a Itet mountain. Multiple anti-portal turrets on the walls. Motor pool with armored wagons. And a central keep flying the Broken Crown banner. Thermal overlays show 28 heat signatures, one small one, child-sized, isolated in a tower room near the keep's apex. James. Redact pulls off the headset, eyes hard.
Drones are hot and waiting on your word. I can put them through a microprobe gate in 30 seconds. Eyes inside the walls before we ever step through ourselves.
The holotable pings again, an archived file auto-flagged by the system. Crown Remnant Faction, hostile, terminated contract 2000. Looks like abiotic cut ties with these mercenaries a quarter century ago after they went rogue. You and Redact stand side by side, staring at the glowing fortress and the tiny heat signature that has to be your boy. Then, without warning, the air behind them splits with a sharp crackle of violet energy. A new portal tears open in the control room, unbidden, unscheduled, edges flickering with the exact shade of Marcus's own signature. Cold wind and the scent of pine and distant smoke spill through it. The rift widens just enough to reveal moonlit ruins on the far side. The same ancient bridge where Marcus was shot only hours ago. Something or someone has followed the trail back. Marcus and Redact spin toward the glowing tear, weapons half raised, eyes sharp. The portal holds steady, waiting.